We will commence. Recording has started.
Welcome to the webinar, Shipping Smarter with SYSPRO. I'm Mark O'Brien, Chief Marketing Officer for ShipLink, and I'm here with Glenn Stewart, Founder and Chief Executive Officer. Today's event is hosted by Lonehill Systems. You're probably all familiar with Lonehill. We've been working with them for about 15 years now on a variety of different solutions, and appreciate everything Lonehill has done to put this event together, especially to Stephanie Caballero, who worked with us on producing it. Before we start, I want to let everyone know if you have questions, you can use the panel tab. This slide indicates where it is. It's off on the right of your screen. If you click it and pull it open, you'll see that you have access to a chat window where you can send us a question. We're going to be taking questions throughout, and then we'll address those at the end of this short presentation, which precedes the demonstration. As well, you can click on the full screen button and get a better view of the entire event. I want to start off by talking about ShipLink as a complete shipping solution. The model really illustrates what we do. Up there at the top in section 1, ShipLink has a very deep integration to SYSPRO, where we're able to capture all the order data, obviously customer data, product data, and virtually any data that's in your database, so we can customize the shipping experience. Once we have that data in hand, we're able in step 2 to apply business rules, any number of custom business rules, automatically select carriers, handle multiple orders, and there's an administration system that allows you to govern all of that activity. Then in step 3, we execute with the carrier provided programs, and as you can see there, we're supporting all the majors, plus we have complete LTL freight shipping capabilities. And finally, ending that cycle of fulfillment, we're able to send messages, for example, ship confirmations, special documents as part of the shipping process. So it's really an end-to-end full cycle fulfillment solution. As I mentioned, we have a powerful admin tool that you're going to be seeing later on in the presentation that Glenn will show you. It is a single-click solution, which I'll show you in a moment. As I mentioned, there's rules-based multi-carrier execution. We also have the ability to operate against rates that we can retrieve from the carriers. Dynamic documents and messaging are part of it. And finally, there's a pretty comprehensive reporting and tracking functionality. Moving on, we've been a SYSPRO solution provider, as you can see there, since 1993. You have hundreds of installations across the US and Canada. And I think equally important, experience with a diversity of different industry applications, everything from e-commerce on one side to heavy equipment distribution on the other. And ShipLink is a program that's designed to work with the carrier programs, UPS World Ship, FedEx Ship Manager, Easy Ship, the Postal Service through stamps.com, and of course, LTL freight management platforms. We integrate with those seamlessly. There's nothing really to add to those programs. You'll see that as Glenn demonstrates it. Importantly, these programs provide you with access to all the services that are available, different from a traditional shipping solution. By working with the carrier programs, we have access to those, including the special services. And really important, if you have a warehouse staff that is typical of many, they're already experienced using these programs. They really don't have to learn anything to operate ShipLink. So you have people that are ready to be productive with a new solution right from the start. As I mentioned earlier, ShipLink includes a comprehensive administration system. It gives you complete control over how it's integrated, how the carriers are configured, obviously all of your business rules. And I think most important for people that are considering ShipLink is the fact that we're able to very rapidly, with this admin system, configure and customize the shipping experience. And that replaces what would otherwise be a really long and expensive professional service engagement. It's a point and click configuration, which you'll see in a moment, which allows you, should you choose to administer some of your own rules and take advantage, have visibility into your own configuration. ShipLink works with a shipping workstation, which is illustrated right here on the screen. It runs on any number of different network PCs. It doesn't require additional SYSPRO licenses. It processes both dispatch and delivery notes. As I mentioned earlier, it's pulling on a comprehensive set of data to customize the execution process. One of those features is the ability to automatically validate multi-order shipments. For example, if you choose to consolidate, it will show you which shipments are qualified and validated for consolidation, the common consignee address and other factors. And finally, once someone clicks to ship, we're automatically invoking the rules and instantly populating that carrier program, which pops up on the screen, requires one just to set one or more items on the scale, generate labels. There's no additional data input required whatsoever. So it's extremely efficient from that manner. And part of what the shipment process does is we generate what we refer to as ShipLink Central documents. And these are dynamically generated based on rules, based on data that we've consumed from the order, customer profile, could be an inventory data item that we're considering. And with that data, we're able to, through a set of templates that are part of the solution, generate custom labels. Those may be vendor compliant labels, could be any type of label that you want. We can generate documents. One of the things that we do for a number of customers that are in the high spec and military space is provide conformance documentation, which is a critical part of their shipment. As well, we're able to generate reports and write those right out to Crystal, Active, and the Microsoft SSRS format. And that's ShipLink Central Documents. It's completely transparent. You don't need to do anything at the ship station to invoke those. Those are rules-based. They generate automatically. Another part of it, effective and powerful part, is ShipLink Central messaging. And with this, once that shipment is done, and it's typically at the end of the day, we have the ability to generate custom email ship notifications. And you can see there in the sample, we can look at the order, find out what's in it, and suggest, for example, links to a complementary product as part of that message generation process. We can also attach a document. For example, a compliance or conformance document could be automatically attached in a PDF form or other form to the email so that it flows through as a single unit of communication to the end user. Really important is there's a portal, ShipLink Central portal, that you can log in and you can see exactly what the status of these messages are. For example, that they've been delivered correctly, who has opened, if it's a ship notification, if there's a problem with it, if there's a bounce and the email is incorrect or it needs to be sent to another email, you can actually go in and manually enter a new email address, resend it, or resend, for example, one that did send correctly. Maybe someone wants to get that message again. So that's ShipLink Central messaging. Next is ShipLink Central reporting. This is very much a management tool that provides visibility into the current day's activity, week to date, month to date, quarter to date, and year to date. Activity dashboard. You have the ability as well to search for shipments, proactively track them, be able to, in a customer service call, let someone know exactly what the status of their shipments are. Performance reporting, as I mentioned, or as you can see, and a comprehensive shipment history. If you would like, we're happy to show this to you in a separate demonstration from today's. I mentioned earlier LTL freight management. ShipLink is integrated with 3 popular services. We have access to hundreds of North American carriers. As indicated, we can provide time and transit rates. We're automatically composing the BOLs and obviously tendering those shipments. And if you have a significant transportation spend, all of these services are available and come with, in fact, a comprehensive set of carrier analytics, on-time deliveries, fuel surcharges, that type of data that's available through reports as part of the LTL freight management module that we provide. And ShipLink is really a global solution. There's US and Canada and select now international origin support. We're starting to move into Europe. As mentioned earlier, we're capturing all of the order information, including the header and line item detail that you need for international shipping. We're automatically preparing all those documents that are required, including the commercial invoices, NAFTA, and we're harmonizing the currencies. So, for example, if we're writing back data that's needing to be harmonized or translated into a different currency, we can do that automatically within the application. ShipLink also has what we consider unparalleled support. In addition to online tutorials, we have, as you can see there, live telephone support available from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. There's in-application support ticketing. If you have a problem and you're in the application, you can actually document right there the problem and send that immediately to our support department for follow-up. We have our own built-in error trapping tools, which are available to you as well. And typically, we're able to solve most problems in 5 minutes or less. ShipLink's also a rapid deployment solution. As I mentioned earlier, our administration tools provide us the ability to very quickly and easily configure and customize the solution. That, as mentioned earlier, eliminates the time and cost involved with typically long implementation processes, particularly with shipping solutions. And how we typically work in that regard is we meet with the stakeholders in a real-time workshop and actually implement the solution with you. And in many cases, unless it's an extremely complex solution, we're able to offer you same-day shipping. So we can handle that implementation process, test it, and then go live within a day period. ShipLink, with all of these capabilities, provides, again, what we consider to be a pretty set of unprecedented benefits. Obviously, we're enhancing the SYSPRO order management process. We have the ability, for example, to write back straight into sales order management. We can provide live hyperlink tracking within that construct. We're streamlining the shipment processing by handling what would otherwise be a lot of manual entry. We're able to use rules to create that data automatically. That allows us to increase the accuracy, get rid of the errors that you would otherwise experience with a manual entry process. And if you have existing business rules, we've yet to come across one that we can accommodate. So, for example, if let's say that there's certain free freight conditions that you want to apply for a customer that orders more than $2,500 worth of goods in a particular time period, we can invoke that with a business rule, and it's done transparently and automatically. Your people, your shipping staff, don't have to get involved in that process whatsoever. We're also accelerating, as you can see there, invoice generation. So we're writing back at the end of the shipment everything that you need to immediately execute an invoice generation process. And finally, improving customer service. So with the ability to ship more accurately, with the ability to ship with additional data that a consignee may require. As I mentioned earlier, it could be a conformance document, it could be a vendor compliant label, it could be a stocking label. All that works to improve customer service. So at the end of this webinar, you'll have the ability to reach out to Lonehill if you want to learn more about getting a demonstration and acquiring ShipLink as well. You can visit shiplinkglobal.com and learn more about the application. And with that, I will hand over to Glenn for a demonstration of the solution.
Thank you very much, Mark. Before I start showing the software, I would just like to welcome you to offer any questions you might have. And if you don't have any questions right at this point, throughout what I show you, if what you see triggers any questions in general or specific to what your company does, please enter it into the chat window. And we are moderating that chat window, and we'll add it to the entire group as we're ready to answer the question. So I'm going to go ahead and show my screen. One moment here. Okay. My belief is that you should be able to see the screen. Mark, can you please confirm that? Okay, thank you. All right, so this is our ShipLink shipping screen. It's fairly minimal because obviously shipping should not require a bunch of data entry if we're doing our job correctly. This software will be evident and available on any PC where you're going to be performing your shipments. So it is a desktop application running on Windows. It does have many cloud components to it, but it is a desktop application. As was described earlier, we are automating the usage of the free carrier supplied software applications, and that automation is tightly integrated to SYSPRO. We don't make use of a SYSPRO seat. So basically, if you're at a shipping station, you can or cannot or don't need to have SYSPRO on that PC. I'm going to bring up right now a virtual machine. So this right here is a Windows virtual machine where I have my SYSPRO loaded. And this is so that we can see order information before and after it ships. So if I were to bring up order 845 here, it will show that it's shipping to Seattle. Adjust this slightly. So it's shipping to Seattle, UPS second day air. These shipping instructions codes, we of course match up to whatever codes you are using in SYSPRO, and then match those up within the ShipLink application. So right now it will recognize UD2 to be UPS domestic second day air. In your case, it could say UPS2 or UPS blue or whatever code you have. And then we just match those up. It usually takes a few moments to match up all your codes inside ShipLink configuration. So this order is at 845. Order number 845 shows a status of 4. I'm going to minimize my virtual machine where SYSPRO is loaded, where somebody in the office is in sales order query. And I'm just going to type in 845, and it should populate UPS World Ship. As you can see the screen here, it is saying it's a second day air shipment. We brought in some weights and dimensions, even though most of the time your product database, your inventory, will not give us this information. For demo purposes, we're showing it this way. If in the exceptional case that you do have inventory that does lend itself to these parcel level characteristics being available to us, we will read them, and we can, as you see here, populate the carrier application with that data. So order number, scan or type, enter, and every piece of information, like for example, this is the order, this is the PO number, every piece of information can be configured to be stored in WorldShip as you would like to see it, using your business rules. So literally it should take a second or two to process a transaction. Order number, enter, single box, reads from the scale, let's say, ships, produces a label, and then updates SYSPRO. Once this screen reset like it did, that told us that SYSPRO got updated in real time. So now if I look at 845 here and I refresh this within sales order query, you'll see that the order is now in a status 8. There is a freight charge of $109.75, a freight cost of $109.75 because we don't have both the published and the discounted rates in our demo system. So we're putting the published rates in both, but we're in complete control of what goes into these fields. Almost invariably, this field will have the charge that the carrier is sending to you with your discounted rates. And almost invariably, you will have some business logic that you tell us that in some cases will maybe put 0 here because it's a free freight shipment. In other cases, just the flat published rate or the discounted rate. And in many cases, there will be a markup, and that markup can be contingent on any data within the order that provides us a trigger of your business rules that would adjust or modify that amount. We do have customers who actually have us, as in this case where it's going UPS second day air, they only want to charge their customer the ground rate. Well, UPS didn't tell us the ground rate. So what we would do here is we would actually make a call out to the UPS API, calculate the ground rate based upon the characteristics of the shipment we just processed, and that's what we put in the invoice here. So all sorts of flexibility there. As you can see, it's one parcel, UPS second day air, shipped on this date. Here's your tracking number, your weight. Many customers of ours have custom form fields where they want us to put this tracking number in also so that they can do easier reporting instead of trying to get this tracking number from within the comment lines of the order. We also update the multimedia so that now that I just shipped this, if I click this play button, it will actually go out to the UPS website and try and track it. Obviously, this tracking number is invalid because we just shipped a dummy order, and it came back and said, we can't find it, but normally it would show the tracking in there. So what happens on a partial and a backorder release? Every time you ship, we'll have a new record in here, track shipment 1 of order, track shipment 2 of order, track shipment 3 of order. And there should be one link tracking the master tracking number for each invoice that you process, because there should be a one-to-one relationship between shipments and invoices. Okay, that is the first test shipment we just did. We have a circumstance where you would potentially want to ship a international. And so I've got order 895 here, and that's going to London. I also have order 900. So these are the 2 line items going to London. 4 are shipping, 6 are back ordered, 8 are shipping, 2 are back ordered. I go to order 900, it's also shipping to London. Your shipping department might want to consolidate these 2 orders together if they can go to the same address. So we have a completely different item and all 5 are shipping. What I'm going to do is just go back into my shipping screen, and I'm going to say 895 is shipping, but I also want to consolidate and add 900 to it. I'm going to put 900 in here, and it's going to tell me I can do it because it let me put that in. Now, we just a moment ago shipped 845. I'm going to try and put 845 in there. It won't let me because it's now in a status 8. So the real-time update of the data is relevant to stop mistakes being made of, pick ticket or delivery note printed more than once, and you tried to pick it more than once and it's trying to ship it more than once. We should stop that. But also, if I want to try order 897, which hasn't shipped, it tells me I can't go because it's going to a different address. So on the front end, we have this validation. And if I go ahead and ship it, it will now ship it internationally, where all of the line item information has been brought into UPS. If I go here to customs documentation, you'll see 3 different line items in here. 2 from the first order, 1 from the second, with the tariff codes and the country of origin read from within SYSPRO. The terms of sale we would assign dynamically based upon business logic you gave us. Maybe everything goes DDP, for example. In this case, it qualified for FCA. It brought in all the other information, and if we wanted to print the commercial invoice, most people do paperless, we'll just preview that commercial invoice. This is what the commercial invoice looks like. So as you can see, when we process this shipment of these 2 orders with 3 line items, it should take the same exact amount of time as it should do for a domestic, because everything's being pre-populated. If we were to do this manually, most customers tell us that it usually takes at least about 15 minutes to process an international shipment because of all the data entry and oversight that it usually takes to process an international. So if you are international shippers, we should be able to completely eliminate all of the time it takes that distinguishes an international shipment from a domestic. You'll see the pricing here. This pricing can be what you sold it for. Circumstantially, we can change this pricing to be some discounted amount based upon conditions. You might have an office in Amsterdam, and every time you ship to your office in Amsterdam, you don't want to declare the value at the full sale price because then you're paying more duties and taxes. So you might tell us when we ship to your Amsterdam office, we put the cost in here, or 30% of the price, whatever you tell us. But for all other international shipments, we put the sales price in there. So it shows on the commercial invoice the same to the customer as what you sold it for. I'm not going to complete this shipment because I want to show one more feature. So I'm going to reset the transaction. It'll take a moment here. And I'm going to try this again, 895. And I'm going to say, what's shipping with 895? 900. It accepts it. And I screwed up. I'll cancel that. I want to do a carrier override. So UPS already picked up today. Therefore, I want to, even though it says UPS in the order, I want this to go FedEx. So 895, 900 is going with it. I'm now going to ship it. But since I chose carrier override, the shipper now has the opportunity to change it from what it says in UPS, from what it says in SYSPRO here, UPS, and we're going to just make it a FedEx. And which FedEx service? We're going to choose International Priority. So even though it said UPS in the order, we're shipping it FedEx. And as you can see, it populates the FedEx screen instead of the UPS screen in the same fashion. And you'll see the line items are brought in the same fashion. There's 4, 8, and 5, which are not the order quantity, but the ship quantity. And if you look at the line items, you'll see that we brought in the tariff codes and the country of manufacture and so on. So I'm going to reset this one more time. I'm going to ship it as a UPS. So 895, 900 goes with it. I perform the shipment. We'll say that it's 12 pounds, 1 box. We process it. So now there's the dilemma. Where do the freight charges go? You got 2 different orders. So what we do, so if I refresh 900 here, this was the second of the 2. You'll see that it says 895 and 900 shipped together. So we tell SYSPRO all the orders of a multi-order shipment that shipped together. It went UPS Worldwide Express, tracking information. If we click play button, it'll try to track it. And then it put a freight charge of $70 in there. Let me get this out of the way. And how did it know to do that? So right here, 895, freight charges are $212.54. What it did is proportionally assigned the freight charges based upon the value of the order, which is one of our options. Well, I'm just going to go quickly into our setup here. And if I look at freight charges, when I have a multi-order here, am I going to apply all the freight charges to the first one? Am I going to divide them out equally? Do I have the weight information of each order that will allow me to allocate by weight? Usually not, but if you did, that's the most accurate one. In this case, we're going to allocate the freight charges of proportionally based upon the relative value of each order within the shipment. And that's what we did. Please let us know if you have any questions on that in the chat window. So that's a example of an international, which should go as fast as a domestic, as you just saw. Also a multi-order shipment. So you potentially would have orders that have shipped partial and then the back order. If I bring up 898 here and I show here, and this is the back ordered goods that are left in the shipment. If I look at the edit here, you'll see that it's already shipped once. And if I track this, it'll show that it tracked on this other day. And so this is the example I gave you earlier that tracks second shipment of order. So I'm going to ship 898. It'll have its logic in there, populate everything, ship it. And now when we look at this 898 inside the office at the workstation where SYSPRO is running, you'll see the freight charge. Here's the tracking information. If we look at the play button here, we have a first shipment of order. Now track the second shipment of the order. So now I'm going to actually ship a FedEx, which I don't think I did yet. So here it shows FedEx domestic ground. So, oh, it's already in a status 8. Won't let me ship it. That's my mistake. So I'll do a 897 here. So this example, such which some customers have, you might have sold something on the internet and you have a pre-assigned freight charge of $40 here. And as you can see, the cost field here also shows $40. So effectively, at either an integration to an e-commerce platform or an order entry, somebody put $40 in as the freight charge. We should not be changing that freight charge unless you told us you wanted us to, but that's pretty rare. So that you're going to charge the customer $40. We're going to go ahead and ship it. 897. So I'll minimize SYSPRO. And this should go FedEx. And the actual freight charge, I believe, here is $22.60. I'm going to ship it. It updates SYSPRO. And when I go back into SYSPRO here, still has the $40 freight charge. Now we've attached the other information to this. And when I say we've attached, we actually are attaching it to the pre-existing freight charge. So even though we didn't put this freight charge in, these comments are now attached to here. So if you shipped a partial and then invoiced it on the back order, you would not have to delete out this tracking information, so it wouldn't show on the next order printout of the next pick ticket. So because we tied it to this freight charge, when this first one ships and invoices, this tracking information goes away just like the freight charge does. The other thing we do is if I click on freight charge here, even though it left $40, it turns out we have a discount. The cost here, we actually updated the pre-existing $40 that was showing at a $40 cost. We actually put the $18.89 freight cost in there that was what your carrier's discounted rate was. So even though on the front end you're entering in $40 and by default SYSPRO might put in 0 or 40 in the cost, we then will read that line and update it with the actual cost when you do have pre-assigned freight. Excuse me. So order 896 here is going UPS 2-day to Seattle. Now, the shipper has control over the system, and we leave them with that control. But we, of course, want to keep track of any potential errors that were made. So I'm going to do 896 here. And I'm going to, and as you can see, everything's populating correctly. But I, as the shipper, decide that this is going to go to Atlanta instead of Seattle. Obviously, that shouldn't occur, but mistakes are made. People do strange things. People type stuff in where they shouldn't. And now I process the shipment. We should be able to protect against this, but let's say you don't have that turned on. And they change something that maybe we can't protect against. In our log viewer here, which shows all of your history, I'm going to go into 896 here, and we have kept track of everything. So if I go to the ship to here, this is what we told UPS it should have gone by. This is actually where it went, where the shipper performed the transaction. We keep track of everything that we pass to the carriers, everything that carriers say happened, but we also keep track here of SYSPRO information. And so every field in the sales order master is available to us. Every field in the sales order detail is available to us, these two line items. Every inventory record against those two line items, every field in there is available to us. Even the plus tables, the custom form fields against the inventory, against the detail, against the master. All of that information allows us to utilize this info for any sort of document creation, communications to customers, like the emails Mark was expressing earlier. It also provides us the ability to troubleshoot very quickly. So if a customer says to us, this happened, can you please figure it out for us? We can look at the snapshot of all the data that was available to us in SYSPRO the moment it shipped. And then we see what we told the carrier, we see what the carrier told us, and we have all the information at our fingertips to be able to usually complete support calls in like 2 minutes, which is usually the case. In the customer record, we even have the customer multi-address. In case you're using the multi-address, we have all of that stored. The other thing that we're doing that's, of course, highly SYSPRO-centric is, if I go into sales order maintenance here, I'm going to just create a custom form field here called telephone number. So in SYSPRO, I'm just going to do a new custom form field called order phone. I'm just going to save that and get out of this screen. I'm not even going to put it on the screen. And if I go into our phone mapping in ShipLink for when we do an install, I go here to the phone number, we can have a little C# routine that looks in various places for the phone number. That's what this is right here. We can assign coding to everything. And we can also look at your custom form fields in SYSPRO. And in StoreMaster Plus, we have freight pay terms, liftgate, route, vehicle code, no phone number. I'm going to get out of ShipLink and go right back into ShipLink. And I'm going to try and map that phone field. So in this configuration, instead of doing a formula which has some C# code, I was going to go directly to the field I just created. Order phone. So we're so tightly integrated to SYSPRO that we look at your system and in real time add to our menu choices your custom form fields. So if this is company X's custom form fields are what these menu choices are, not out of the box SYSPRO. Lastly, we also, as Mark mentioned earlier, have the ability to do LTL, which wouldn't be UPS or FedEx. So if I go here to SYSPRO and end this order, and as you can see here, it's going to Seattle, but this time we have it marked as an LTL. So if you were to look at the LTL module, it's a full transportation management system, requires hours of analysis and viewing. We're only going to do one tiny piece of it. So if let's just minimize UPS and FedEx here. So if I were to type in $8.99, instead of bringing up the UPS or the FedEx screen, it brings up our transportation management screen. And so we can do LTL shipments with you as just generic transactions where maybe we'll produce a bill of lading or a label, and we won't have access to rates or tracking. Or you can get a full-blown solution here where we actually read the weight in from the order. We'll just make it 750 pounds. We assign the freight class maybe by the value, maybe by your line items or by default, show all the accessorials. And then if we continue here, we're actually going to perform a rate shop against the carriers that qualify for this ship to address that do business with us. And when I say us, I mean the customer. So therefore, if you have XPO, SIA, T-Force, and Old Dominion, and the destination address doesn't, Old Dominion doesn't go there, these three will show. Old Dominion is not showing. And these rates will be your rates. We're talking directly to your carrier's server to get these rates in real time. I'm going to choose XPO. We will keep track, of course, of when the user has chosen not the cheapest carrier, which he could for very good reason or for bad reason. And when I ship it, it will produce the bill of lading and will update SYSPRO. And then from this point forward, we have post-transaction visibility, just like UPS and FedEx, of where the goods are, tracking throughout the carrier system, and so on. So here's a bill of lading. We would have pallet labels, this bill of lading. And so it's just like UPS and FedEx, a little more involved. And then it updates SYSPRO. So if I go back here and look at 899 again, it should be in a status 8. And freight charges, one pallet going XPO. Here's a pro number. And we did create a hyperlink, which won't be active, that would allow you to track through the XPO system. This leads us to the last bit of functionality that a lot of people want to know about, which is the automated ship notifications. Now, Mark had expressed to you that, 1 second here. There we go. So we have a cloud-based portal, and this customer is allowing us to log into their portal. So this is live information. And we can actually see all the emails that we sent out. Now, who did we send the emails to? Whoever you tell us to up to 5 potential recipients, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can query anywhere in SYSPRO to get these. It could be to your internal sales reps. There could be an email for us to find there. So I'm going to just do a search from the 20th to the 21st, 2-day shipments. So these are all the emails that were sent, 492 emails in those days. Some records, the customer didn't give them an email address. Others, they did. This shows the status of the email. So in this case, this person at Fastenal clicked on it and tracked it. So did this person. In this case, it was delivered, but they never opened it. In this case, it was opened, and then here it was bounced. And because of this bad email address, because why did it bounce? Well, I doubt this shipment was to Intuit. So somebody put a bad email address in SYSPRO. So what is the content of the email? Well, let's expand that. So right here, you'll see that we can put anything in the email. And in this case, we have marketing information, line items of the order, ship to address, tracking hyperlink. But as you can see, there's also an attachment here. In this case, our customer asks us to run a crystal report on each shipment and then email that crystal report, the packing list, as an attachment to the ship notification email. This attachment, if it was a multi-order shipment, we have multiple attachments. Let's see, I'm going to make master. Okay. So for this particular customer, McMaster they're shipping from their other branded location, Republic Drills, instead of Michigan Drill you were saying a second ago. And we read from the order that this one should go to the Republic brand instead of Michigan. So that's why you see Republic there. And this is why this packing list is a Republic packing list instead of a Michigan. Same company, different brands. Crystal Report is handling, we're handling it in the Crystal Reports. And as you can see, in this particular case, this customer received 2 orders, 998 and 012. Therefore, we created 2 packing lists and attached them both to this order. In this case, 2, 1, 1, in this case, 3. So they had 3 orders that shipped together that they consolidated at the shipping station, and we created 3 packing slips and attached them. And some customers actually have multiple documents to the point where they want us to zip it before we attach it, and we will do that. Who creates this template? You could do it, we could do it, we could show you how to do it. It's HTML, and we have an editor in our system that allows us to create it at first maybe, and then you could modify and edit it later. And we can send an unlimited number of emails under an unlimited number of conditions to a maximum of 5 addresses for every shipment we do. And we even have the extra step of not just for every shipment, but we do have the ability to do a consolidated end of day email that will send one email to one customer of yours who wants all the shipments for that day in one consolidated email. And we can do that too. So that's the presentation. What we'd like to do now is see if you have any questions. So I'm going to look at this screen. I'm now trying to find the screen. I have so many windows open. Here we go. So, so one of the questions was, does it have a mobile component, tablet, phone, etc.? And the answer is no. We are running the desktop application. As you can see right here, there's a cloud component to it here. We also have other cloud components inside the application. For example, if we want to back up our configuration, I can create a new backup for today. And this configuration, now that I back it up, might be unique to the station, to this site. I now have it stored on the hard drive. And now I'm going to upload it to our cloud, which means that any PC I could download it to. So we have various cloud components, including the email functionality we showed earlier. But because we're integrated to these carrier applications, and these carrier applications have to run on a Windows PC, we then have the limitation of having to be on the same Windows PC to those applications to which we're integrated to. And that leaves it to the point where we are unable to have a mobile component. Any other questions anyone else might have, either in general or relevant to the way you do business? Okay, so we're not seeing any additional questions. I'll wait one more moment. Otherwise, I will leave it to Mark to complete the presentation and to wrap things up and give some final information. Mark?
Great, Glenn. Thanks. Great demonstration. I want to thank everyone that participated in today's event. Really appreciate you taking the time to learn more about ShipLink. And I wanted to let you know that we'll be sending you a copy of the presentation, as well as links to get in contact both to Lonehill Systems and to ShipLink. And again, I think we can all extend our thanks to Lonehill for sponsoring this event and making this possible. And with that, again, thank you for your time and have a great day.